So I can simply click on Google and search for something called as IFRS CB examination. And the moment I do that, it would give me a page reference, which is CBE specimen examination, ACCA Global. So when we go there, it redirects us to a final page and it tells us all about what is there in the examination. It says that from December 2020, we are introducing CBE, which is a computer-based examination for the diploma in IFRS as well. Okay, so that is something which is there, and it's a good idea to go through these resources. Of course, I would simply want to kind of take you through this this specimen page. This is basically redirecting us to the Pearson Views website where this examination will be conducted. So once you've registered for the examination and all those processes have happened, you would see, on the examination date, whether this examination happens at a center or it happens at your home, for example. Well, you would see a similar kind of a screen. So we need to really spend time understanding it well before the examination. How does it really work there? Okay. So the idea of ACCA is because they are changing the methodology of the examination. It's important to really assess all these things. You still have those 3 hours 15 minutes time. Okay. So that is something which is to be respected, and you have to of course complete your examination there in time, and if you don't submit that, it would be automatically closed. I mean, you don't have to really worry about that part because it would be automatically submitted if you don't submit it yourself up to 3 hours 50 minutes of time. Okay, so when you look at this window, you need to go to this next button, and once you do that, it gives you some more information. They're all specific around the scenario. So it talks about multiple things. So I would simply want to take you to the relevant section of what all is there, right? When you see the examination, how would it look like? You have a few options that you must want to make a use of. You have option to copy paste with the control C or control V option. You have option to highlight or strike through text. If you want to do something for your reference purposes, you can certainly do that. You can very well use some information wherein you can have multiple windows be opened, and you can close them. Whatever you want to see at one point in time, you can look at that as well. So let's rather look into that construction, and you can certainly go back on the previous screen if you want to. Okay, now this is again the set of those instructions wherein we're looking at all these aspects as we all would be respecting at this point in time, that the examination is all about 4 questions of 25 marks each. So there's not much to really kind of concern, much to really worry about. Okay, there's also, by the way, a possibility to use a on-screen scratch pad for making your working. So that is something which is allowed. Please don't expect you to be using some worksheets or pages or rough sheets. Well, whether this examination happens at a center or it happens at your place, and even if it's happening at your place, I'm sure that there would be the examination will be completely monitored. So there are mechanisms through which it can be done. So we're assuming, by the way, it can happen either side. So please be open to get very comfortable with the screens, be very comfortable with the way the examination will test you, right? There are different scenarios. I think when we look into those scenarios, we should be look into the screen there wherein the examination is given. We would be in a very good position to understand what exactly is expected. You may go through these just for your understanding, but I think it's good to have the clarity when we actually see the examination window there. So I'm just taking you to the next screen. Again, all these aspects are there. We want to really use it for the purpose of examination. How does it look like? And this is what is the first instruction, that this examination comprises of 4 questions of 25 marks each, and all the questions are compulsory, which is a very standard requirement of the examination. And you should be really making notes and references to your examination. That is expected to be the case any which ways, right? Now finally, when you click on this next, we should be starting the examination. It says if you're ready to begin the exam, click yes. If you're not, then click no. Of course, we want to click yes here. And what you would see now is the first examination window. This is the first window that you see, and I would really want to spend time here. And this is a specimen examination, and one of the instructions specifically has mentioned that this is not timed, so it will not be submitted. But we should really get comfortable around what all is given in front of us. It says that this is a diploma in IFRS examination, specimen examination. There is a possibility to use symbols. You can highlight something. You can strike through. You have a choice to use a scientific calculator or a basic calculator. Also, you have those choices available. You have to necessarily make use of these, right? So you can simply use the numbers for this purposes. So that is something which is there. When you look at the word of explaining answer, of course this is something which is the kind of a format which is given by the examination. Of course that is not going to be available to you, but the idea is that when you look at these requirements, so this is something which is the requirement. But this first question, which is my first question here, as you see 1 by 4, this is where you look at the 4 options there. This is the first question, which is on consolidation, as it is expected to be, and it talks about that question divided into different sections. This is the section 1, as you see in front of you, as in the balance sheets of the 2 companies given in front of you. Okay, the draft SOFP of alpha and beta, right? Then you have, of course, the information about the standard examination, and you have a choice that you can open this. You can also open this as alongside if you want to refer to something. So you have a choice to pick up multiple windows. Yes, it can be sometimes overwhelming to really use multiple screens together, but then this option is certainly there. Okay, and you look at the third section, and then you look at the fourth section as well. You have a choice to really pick up. It's more like a PDF stuff, so you can really pick up on this. You can do some highlighters, etc., if you want to do that. So they're all basic options available. And it talks about, of course, the additional information. Having understood these, for example, we are simply looking at what is the requirement. Very logically, the requirements are to prepare the consolidated balance sheet as at 30th of September cross 7. Right? That is something which is there. I presume, very frankly, I presume that since it's the first time the examiner expects us to be writing this examination on a computer-based environment. Okay, so it should be relatively easier, comparatively easier as compared to the previous examination. So it would not be too lengthy to my mind. But then yes, we have to respect the fact that it's an examination after all, right? So if I want to, let's say, draw some notes, I can very well use it for you know reference purposes. And when I use my final sheet to type my answer, we just need to pick it up. That can I just copy this, which I've done, by the way. And can I for example, if I just cross it, by the way, it is saved automatically. Can I paste that here, right? We just need to kind of find that part. If I were to do that, yes, it allows me to do this here, right? So use this wisely as far as your examination is concerned. You need to be careful that your examination does not allow you to add any columns or any rows. Okay, it certainly allows you to copy paste, as you see these basic options. So it allows you to do that, but then be very careful about using these all functions, because if you click on this, it would simply take away every work that you have done. Okay, which is giving you an option before you do that. So be very careful when you want to use this. So if I say yes to it, of course my entire screen would go blank here. So I should be very much concerned whether I want to use it, and I need to be really careful about looking at that part, right? Assuming if I've done this question I have a choice, by the way, to be comfortably putting it. I have a choice to, for example, pick any of the questions first. So let's say I'm just targeting question 4, and I look at now this scenario where, of course, the requirement is of 25 marks, and there are 4 sections, as you see: reporting by segment, policies and estimates, IFRS standards for a new subsidiary, and revaluation of property portfolio. And my answer is more descriptive, where I'm supposed to give explanation to the examiner about that. So let's say if I were to pick the first scenario, it gives me, I notice that the disclosures relating to operating segments in the console financial statements appear to be based on geographical location of the customers of the groups and the non-executive director of another large listed entity, and the segment disclosures were for that company were based on types of products. So also, some of our larger subsidiaries have customers in more than one geography, yet they don't provide any segment information in their individual financial statements. Now, I would like to see segment disclosures given in the individual financial statements as well. So, what you observe, and that's the reason why I wanted to kind of bring it along, you have a choice to change the size of the you know the processor, as you see the word processor, and accordingly you can use that information wisely. Now this gives me a bit of a comfort because I can type my answers while referring to the question, right? And I can of course use the enter option and stuff like that. Let me see if I can pick up something here, as I want to, let's say, use some of the information is given in the question. So if I say I'm just doing copy option, and I say I'm doing, let's say, the pasting option, well, it appears to be the case that I have to look into this scenario. It doesn't allow me to do that, of course, from the question, but I probably can only do it when I'm using a scratch pad here. Right? So let's see if we can really pick it up there. Well, this one is certainly not allowed to be, picked up, which is okay. So I might want to use copy option, but I seriously doubt that the paste option would be available, which is okay again as a confirmation. Now, when I were to, let's say, answer this, somewhere I would have an option in my live examination to be able to submit that part, right? So even if I cross this, come back to this, it would still save my answer there. So I think it's absolutely fine to use this there. Again, bringing you back to that scenario of reset. Be very careful before you do this. Okay, so let's do it for the sake of argument. But now, I think the one question that needs to be understood is that if I'm answering this question using a word processor, okay, which is option A, option 1, for example, which is about operating segments, and I close this. What happens if I were to look at the second scenario and again use this option? So it would bring me back to the same window where I now look at option 2, where I'm looking at policies and estimates, for example. I have a choice to, of course, use the options like bold or underline or italics if I want to do that. Some basic options are certainly there. I can make wiser use of that. It's not really changing a lot in your examination. The marking is not really going to change because of that, but it's good to really bring that perspective when you are trying to draft your answers there. Okay, so I'm still using this option of resetting. Well, let's do that, and we find a blank slate around. We can use a reference from this perspective, right? Once you are done with all these calculations, I can still use the navigator where I see whether I've attempted all these questions or not, and of course I would need to attempt all those for the sake of the examination, and I would simply see the final window. If there is something that I want to review, something that I've not attempted, do I want to review those? If something I've flagged, if I were to do that, then should I do that as well? And of course, this particular window of end exam would come. It would give again me a prompt that would you like to would you like to end the exam? Of course, I can do that here, right? Once I've done with this, you will see this option and you will do the exit from that. Okay, so that is something which I certainly believe we should be spending time on. It's worthwhile looking at this scenario and prepare yourself for the examination with the new forum, with the new platform and stuff like that. Right. Good so far. Thank you very much. Good day. Bye bye. Take care.